Hey guys, Rachel Brenke from TheLawTog, and you are sitting on the contracts page for sports and school photography. Now, we're not necessarily known at TheLawTog for these specific types, but we've worked with a couple of photographers who do these sort of photography to help develop these contracts for you. These are for when you guys are not doing general portraiture or anything really of commercial nature. It's kind of this weird kind of in between because you're dealing probably with a lot of different people when you're shooting for schools, daycares, or groups. It could even be for the sports side. It could be different sports teams, the facilities in town. There's a whole broad range, but the primary goal for these documents is to serve the two main purposes of photographing in schools as a school photographer to do the school portraits, and then also as a sports photographer for sports teams, which can also include the sports photos of the individual athletes as well as the full team and maybe even some action shots as well. As you guys will see on this page, we've got a couple of different documents in play. The major ones are the primary contract that you need to have. On the school side, this is going to be the document between you and the school for you to fulfill these duties of taking these photographs of these students for them as their official photographer. Sports side, much like that, except obviously you're going to be signing it with the sports team or the facility or whoever is doing the hiring for you. Those are the two non-negotiable documents that you guys need to have in those little sorts of niches, whether it's school or the sports. If you guys want to use these images in your marketing, you need to make sure you have a proper model release. Oftentimes in situations like this with the school or the sports, the registration that the students or athletes will have filled out with the school should include permission for the school to give permission to photographers. But this is not always the case, and you don't necessarily want to rely on this either. If you guys are wanting to use and advertise for school portraiture or for sports photography in the future, you need to have model releases in place in order for you guys to be able to use the images in marketing. Model releases do two main things. One, it is the person in the image, or in this case, since many of them are minors, it's going to be their parent or legal guardian. It's them giving you, the photographer, permission in order to use those images in marketing. Don't confuse that with copyright. You still own the copyright of the images. The permission that they're giving you is focused on publicity rights. It's the use of their face, this image, not the physical image of the photograph. It is the use of the individual that is in the photograph giving permission, or the parent or legal guardian, for you, the photographer, to use this image in commercial marketing with their face displayed. The second thing that a model release does is it gives you guys also some peace of mind. Why is this? A lot of people don't talk about this. It's not a well understood fact when it comes to model releases and modeling and the use of images in marketing. But the person that's in the image, or their parent or legal guardian, could potentially come after you for claims of compensation for use of their face. We don't want that. So the TheLawTog model release also helps to get the parent or legal guardian to waive any claims of compensation. Gives permission and waives compensation. My recommendation is that you guys make sure that you have these model releases in play if you're planning on using the images in any marketing, because you don't want to end up in any hot water. Other documents you guys may want to consider, these are more of what you're going to give to the school and or to parents, or if they purchase the images. It's a print release if you're selling of digital files. This is a personal license that you are extending, selling, transferring, given to the parent or legal guardian in order for them to be able to reproduce the digital files. You get to outline the permissions, the restrictions, and however you want to do that in there. Need to make sure that you have this documentation in place. All of these documents, we recommend having them separated out for multiple reasons. One, the contract in the privity, which is who it is in between, is only going to be primarily with the school, more than likely. You may have the one-off times that a parent is hiring you, but maybe this isn't necessarily the document. You may want to consider another style of just the general portrait document. This is really intended for the privity between you and the school for the school photography, or you and the sports team and the representative for that. We recommend splitting out the model release also because the person that's signing the contract, which could be the representative of the school, is not necessarily the person signing the model release. Best rule of thumb is to have the parent and legal guardian sign that model release, so your privity for the model release is between you and the photographer and the parent. Not to have the school. Don't rely on necessarily the permissions unless you've seen the language, you've had it reviewed by an attorney, and you're sure that the permissions extend to you, the photographer, because you don't want to get caught up in the publicity rights issues of using images in marketing. So the main contract, you and the school or the sports representative. The second is the model release between you and the parent or legal guardian of the minor that's in the photograph. And then also the print release if you're selling of digital files. In order for you to be able to extend that license, the privity of that is from you to the parent. Well, actually, it could be any situation. If you're selling to the parents, it's going to be between you and the parent. If you're selling of the images to the school, then it's going to be between you and the school or you and the sports representative. I hope this helps you guys a little bit. This is a good baseline essentials documents to get you guys started in school or sports photography. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to submit it through the contact form. Myself or my team are more than happy to help you out. And please remember to get yourself protected because you never have an issue until you have an issue.